Greetings, welcome back to Pink Oddbird. Today what I'm here with is a flip through of some items that I'm going to be listing up in my Etsy store for a flash Memorial Day sale. All of the sale details will be at the very end of the video, so let's go ahead and take a look. So first up, I will do a rundown of what's available as far as journals go, so let's take a look at those. I do still have these two available. They were some spring journals that I made a while back, and I do have a flip through of these, but they're fabric covered journals and they're plain Janies on the inside. So I do have these two still listed up. So and I'll link to the full flip through maybe if you want to see that, but these are really neat to just use for someone who's a writer, or maybe you're a crafter and you like to fill these up your own way with more stuff, and you can also use it as a glue book. And this is the second one that I have available still. So it's fabric covered on the inside and out. They all have that vintage photo in them, I should say. And yeah, just like book pages, there's a few pockets here and there, just scrapbook paper tags, some pockets in the center there. Really pretty paper. I can't remember what paper that was I used. Which paper is that? It's really pretty. So yeah, so that's this one. Up next, I have a few more Alice journals, and these are going to be the last that I make for a while to come. So this one's already spoken for, but I do still want to flip through it so she can see it, so I'll do that one last. And then these two are pretty similar as far as how they were decorated, but they're both paper covers. This time I've used paper, and they're standard size traveler's notebooks, so 8 1/4 by 4 1/4. And this one has a little key on the charm, or on the closure, which is vintage seam binding. And so this one has the little key, and this one has the trumpet, because, you know, the little white rabbit has his trumpet. So I'll flip through one of these in more detail than the other, but I'll flip through them both so you can see. I was inspired by Dolly to do the little pocket on the front cover, so I have used just a little die cut in the pocket that's on the front. So thanks, Dolly, for letting me use your inspo. And on the front cover, that's what the image looks like. So I have a lace pocket, and it's using that same fabric that's over there. So it's got sequins in it, and it's a front and back pocket. So that's that. And then we have a little rosette tag here. Crafty Arena, thank you. I used some of the Figaro Designs digitals, and I thought they were perfect because she has like a tea kit, I believe. So, and this one is another image of hers, so I wanted to definitely use these. So just another die cut here, and then the Ex Libris. I used a little Tim Holtz butterfly for the tuck spot. This is Tim Holtz wallpaper, and then just a little tag here. Alice's Wonderland up at the top. Oh, before I forget to say, I had purchased Mrs. Cog's Alice digitals from a while back, and I think I used those in the last two sets, but this time I wanted to use some of her new ones because I saw her post some like the day I was like working on ephemera, and I was like, oh, perfect. So I went and bought some of her digitals as well, and then she was kind enough to send me the Through the Looking Glass digitals that she has also. So definitely check out Mrs. Cog. I will link her down below. She has tons of beautiful digitals that you can use in your journals. So here I have the Twinkle Twinkle Little Bat, of course. And then over here is the little tiny tag with the bow tie. I did a little happy birthday sticker there. It's a piece of ephemera. This is a little frame, and then we have Alice with the crown on, and then a little journaling card back there. They all have one of these little trifolds in it, so you can just do some writing in there. Of course, we have the raven in there. This is another one of those Figaro designs. And then here is one of Mrs. Cog's images, and I love these so much. Just very simple and pretty. We've got Alice there, little rabbit. I hand dyed some lace, so that's what that is. And then just some paper. Here's another one of Mrs. Cog's images. And for this, what I just did was I printed it out and I just cut the image, but I left it open so it can be a little floating pocket. So pretty cute, I thought. A little bit of fabric there and another image. And this one is also from Mrs. Cog's. That's the Arthur Rackham ones that she has. Little book page. And here is the second floating pocket. And I did a little fabric tag as well. So here I have some sari silk, and then inside of there some little flower buds, rose buds, flower buds. So the coffee stain paper in this book came from Reem, who is Paper Pixie, so thank you, Reem. And beautiful. I love that paper so much. Little fabric tabs, and then some hearts there at the top. And here is the center of the book. Another, oh, so Mrs. Cog's kit is called Alice in Color, so that's what these are. I forgot to mention they all will have 4 charms as well. I forgot to mention that, sorry. One will be one of the like playing card little charms. One with the little like clay and a jewel, and then a little beaded charm. So another Mrs. Cog image there. Some stamping. So in here I've made a little tag, journaling card, and another floating pocket with a tag inside. Did a lot of edge punching on some of the pages as well. There's the old Alice fabric there, little sample. So here, a few bits of ephemera. Some of the images in the journals might be different, but for the most part, they're the same. Some lace. And another floating pocket. Two little journaling cards here. And the Paint the Roses Red little bits. It's my last of those little transfers that I have. Just did some random letter stickers down at the bottom. A little bit of page punching there. These tickets are also Figaro designs. And then 2 of these little ephemera bits. Got it from Dolly. And the little paw prints. A couple more ephemera bits. A little fabric pocket. And of course they have one of these little Franken tags that I made. There's my stamp. And that is this one. This one is also going to be available, and I will flip through this one a little bit quicker, but just to show you the charms really quick. There's the little club, and the jewel, the clay, and the beads. In the front, there's the little tag. So both of these will be listed up in my Etsy, and I'm going to flip through the third one now. So if you don't want to see that flip through, you can skip on to the next segment. But if you do, here we go. So this one is a fabric cover. There's the front image there, and then the tag up at the top. It's layered with some other fabric behind it, which is kind of neat because it's really delicate, like pink underneath and beige and stuff like that, so you can kind of see it through. And they have the same 4 charms, so that one, this one, this one, and the little club is up here. All right, so here we go. All right, so those are the Alice journals, and again, these two will be up in my shop. And let's move on to what's next. So I had posted a bunch of stories on all this stuff here yesterday, or the other day, I should say, because when this video goes live. And I had picked up these two really cool old vintage books. This book cover is from 1885-ish, mid to late 1800s, I'll say. And this one is from 1901. So what I did was I altered both of these and I turned them into just some really plain, ready to write in journals. And I use a journal like this. This is the one that I use, and this is one that I purchased from Nicole. And the front part of it is pretty much already kind of written in, but it's the same kind of idea where it's mostly, you know, paper, but I like to use this as my idea book. So that's kind of what I have made here. So let's take a look at what we have. So I'm going to start with this one here. And these books are really old and they're originals. So, you know, they are going to have the wear and tear that comes with that. I could have gone ahead and built new spines on these, but I was trying to keep the book cover as original as I could. That got the best of me on this book in particular. It does have imperfections and I won't point them out, I guess. They're nothing that's gonna, you know, really, you know, mess with the integrity of the book, but I definitely have had some issues when I was doing this one, so that will be realized in the Etsy listing. So this one is going to be a little bit lower than the other one because of that. So let's take a look at the inside. Anyway, this is the cover, and let me tell you, the book pages that were actually inside of this book are amazing. So anyway, let's take a look. So again, they're really plain on the inside. they are hollow back, so it does have the hollow back binding on it, so they will lay completely flat. And the paper that I used here all came from Crafty Irina. She sent me some more Happy Mail, so thank you, Irina. So again, it's really plain and simple. I do have a big lace pocket here. There's 3 signatures and about 8 pages per signature. There is not a lot of embellishing in here, and we'll go through that in just a second. So there's a little bit of fabric, coffee stained paper, vintage book page. There's a little tuck spot here. I did use a lot of my real vintage papers to make these, and I used some of my avocado paper that Miss Renee at GT Design sent to me, and you can find this in her Etsy shop, which I will link down below. So just vintage papers, vintage music paper, vintage ledger paper, vintage graph paper. This is a really vintage book page as well. And this flips out, and there's a little pocket down here at the bottom. Some more of that fabric. Another big lace pocket. There's a tuck spot here. Another pocket. That's a vintage recipe page, more avocado paper. This is vintage ledger that Miss Renee also sent to me, and it does have writing on it. There's the center. There's another tuck spot. And the final signature, tuck spot. children's writing paper. This is neat because you can see the contrast of the coffee stained paper versus the avocado. Really pretty. Another text spot. There's my stamp. So that's this one. Oh, and I left the string pretty long here, the one in the center, just in case you want to add like a charm or something to it. So you can have that choice. So with that one, there's also an ephemera pack, and these two ephemera packs that come with each one of these are very similar. So I will only flip through, or I will only show one, so just to save a little bit of time. So in the little muslin bag here, you get that, and you also get a few little really pretty fabric swatches. So there's this one, and you can do a lot of things with these. You can make tabs, you can make pockets, anything like that. And this one. And then you also get a yard of this brown lace, as well as this lace here. And then I didn't have quite enough to make a yard of this one, so maybe it's more like half a yard on that one. So you get all that, and then you get another yard. This one is vintage lace as well, and this one's kind of like a mauve color. And then I made envelopes out of that same paper pad that I used in the book. So it's a really big envelope, and it's filled with stuff. So let's see. There's 3 tags, Project Life card, a little tiny glassine envelope, one of these layaway envelopes, and the one in the other ephemera pack isn't this color, it's white. One of these, a little bit bigger glassine envelope, a doily, some of these little envelopes that I have, vintage seam binding, this one's from 1986, seed packet, super cute, and an element card, 2 vintage, I think these are vintage cards if I'm not mistaken. There's a little bunny piece. This is another envelope, a little heart doily, a bird and a butterfly. I think these 2 pieces are different in the other pack as well. A plain little grid card, a sheet of the library due date paper. There are 4 of these vintage wildlife cards, and they're different in the other pack obviously, but there's 4. The scraps of the ledger paper, I added those in because you can still use those. Scraps from when I made the envelope, so that's those scraps. Another scrap piece here you can use as a journaling card. This is a vintage receipt. This is some vintage wallpaper. The other piece that I have is not, it's about half the size of this, I think. So that's one difference. But this is super cool. I found this the other day, but really pretty. A vintage flashcard. These are some of the book pages. Ugh. These are some of the book pages from the 1800s book that's over here. And these are brittle, so you do have to be careful with them. And these are the book pages from the 1901 book. So you can do whatever you want with these because they are super old. But these here are not like brittle. They're like, the paper is different on these. But so obviously the book pages are going to be different. But I love these book pages so much. The Harvest Moon. And one more. So I don't know if you have seen the live stream that I did the other day where we went through Arlene's scrapbook, but I have included a few little bits and pieces from her scrapbook. And this here is Arlene. And so there's those pictures that were in her book. You get those. This is one of her mini invitations. You can still see the yellowed tape from where she taped it into her book. And this is, of course, these ephemera pieces here are a little bit different in the other pack, but I tried to keep them comparable. So here's this one. And this is, it's a handmade invitation that someone gave to her. It's a ladybug, obviously, but I thought this would be kind of fun to collage with or something. And this is also from her estate. These are awards and stuff. You can use these as pages in your book or collaging material. These are another invitation here, and you can alter these, but this was for semi-annual tea. And then they both have one of these scholarship paper certificates, and these are really cool, like old, super old parchment paper. And lastly, there are two pieces of Tim Holtz wallpaper. So that is the bundles that each of these books come with, give or take some minor differences. So that this one here will go with this one. And yeah, so that's this one. And here's the ephemera pack for the other book that we're getting ready to look at, and this is this one. Now, I love this book cover so much, and I scanned it because, like I said, this book is super old, but the cover is so cool. It says, "May blessings be upon the head of Cadmus, the Phoenicians, or whoever it was that invented books," and that's a Thomas Carlyle quote. But I thought that was way too cool. So this is what the spine looks like, and the back. Yeah, I love that cover so much. Similar idea as the other, just lots of different papers. The vintage papers are in here as well, coffee stained and avocado stained. That's a vintage steno book paper there. Same amount of pages, same amount of signatures as the other one, except I don't have any defects in this one. So yeah, really pretty. So as you can see, kind of also even just construct, look at that. Woo! Also kind of constructed the same way even. So yeah. There's that vintage doily packaging backing, I guess. Autobahn pages. There's the vintage book page. So that is that one. So this pack will go with this one. So that's it for the journals. So in my Etsy shop, I do also have the mystery bundle of envelopes that I have, and you get 5 of them in a pack. And the fabrics are obviously random. That's why it's a mystery pack. But I have so many fabrics, and this is just a really good way for me to be able to get some of them used and be able to share some cool things with you guys. So mystery envelopes are in the Etsy shop. So let's move on. The final thing that I have to share today is these fabric bundles, and they are, as the tag reads, Asian inspired fabric bundles. So these here are already ready to go. I have 5 of them in total, and I recently came across like the biggest score of this type of fabric ever, and it's more than I'll ever use. And so I thought it would be kind of fun to share little kits or little bundles of this paper with you all. And I'm not trying to like break the bank or anything with these. I just want to share some cool fabrics with you guys. So these are going to be listed up in Etsy, and let me show you what you kind of get. So I think these little bundles like this are really fun because you don't have to go out and buy like a yard of fabric every time you want to do something. So having a little sampler like this is super ideal. So there's a piece like this in each one. Let me move those. Like so. That one is big enough to turn into a cover. There's a piece of this super pretty like silk kind of one, and the other side is really awesome also. You can use it either way. So they all have a piece like that. There is this one, which is really cool, and I saw on the label for this fabric it came from Joann's, so that's what it looks like. But what's cool is it's got like little rhinestones, tiny sparkles, if you can see that. It's really cool. So that's that one. It has a little sample of this, which is also really pretty, kind of like a silk fabric. It has a piece of this, just a cotton. And this is kind of an interesting material, kind of abrasive, but I thought it would still make like a neat spine or a neat cover, maybe even, or pockets, tabs, things like that. And let's see, a small sample of this fabric. And another really pretty, upside down. So you can see all the different imagery on here. This was a really like a large panel that was a 2006 calendar. So obviously all of the months and images are going to be different in each of the 5 bundles, but that's the one for this. And we have a strip of this one here, which is really pretty fabric, floral fabric, and a sampling of this one here, which is really cool because it's kind of like sort of looks like origami birds is what I think it is. And this one I didn't have a lot of, but there's a little swatch of this really pretty green, so that each will have like a little square of this. So that is what the fabric bundles are going to have inside of them. I know they all kind of are, so this is how they're ready to go. And I will get this one wrapped up the same. They're closed. I don't have any more of this particular one, but so this one will have a different closure, but it's vintage seam binding lace. So oh, and obviously the red fabric, which is really cool fabric, and I don't know what this is called, but it's a really cool fabric. So that's what they're all going to be wrapped up in. So yes, this is everything. So just to recap, we have the fabric bundles, we have the altered books, we have the envelopes, the fabric traveler's notebooks, Alice, and Alice. Whew. Yep. So I think that's it. So if you've made it so far through the video, I appreciate you hanging out with me. I'm really, obviously, as you can see, trying to get my Etsy shop stocked up with more things and a bigger variety of things. And you know, this all takes a lot of work to do, and so that's why it takes me forever to like have like a decent amount of things in my Etsy store, because it takes so much time. But if you have any ideas or things that you're looking for, or highly sought after items, leave a comment down below with some ideas of some things that you don't see often, or things that I might have that I can already share. So, I think that's part of what's daunting about it, is just like, just having to go and like look through everything that I have, so anyway, so yeah, if you have anything that you might want to see or you might be looking for, just let me know, because I have lots of different supplies. I think these fabric bundles are really kind of fun to do. I love fabric and I can almost never pass it up. Same as lace. I have like 3 large, huge bins of lace. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you all have enjoyed watching this, and just a little fun tour of all these different things, something a little bit different. I'm going to be heading out on vacation soon. So, I didn't even mention. This will all be part of a Memorial Day sale. So if you're seeing this video, happy Memorial Day. And also, I wanted to do all this so that I could have like a little sale. And the sale will basically be that anything that's over $40 is going to have free shipping, and anything that's under $40 will be discounted for all of Memorial Day, and then obviously Tuesday it goes back regular. So a little Memorial Day flash sale. And yeah, so all of the information that you might need is going to be in the description box below. So I'm going to go ahead and go, because I am talking your ears off. So that is going to wrap it up for me for now. Be sure to stay tuned, because you never know what direction this odd flock of ours is heading into. And until next time, toodaloo.